My favorite story about Carl, of course, I mean, aside from the fact that I worked with him on All of Me, he was the director, and I was in the movie with Steve Martin, All of Me, which is one of my favorite movies. Anyway, Carl is such a dear guy, and I'd met him many times. I'd met him, I think the first time I met him was in the in the makeup room at Laugh-In. And then through the years, I don't know where I met him, but all kinds of places. And then he invited me to his house one day because he was going to talk to me about doing All of Me. And I loved his house. I mean, his house was just, and I remember saying to him, no wonder I can't find a house. You're living in it, you know. And then I did All of Me. But my favorite remembrance and story about Carl is his wife Estelle, who's died unfortunately. Late in her life, she'd always wanted to be a jazz singer, and Carl used to say that she would sing in bed. She would sing to him, in his ear, and he must say, I'm sure he encouraged her to just do what you want to do, go out and do it. After they'd raised their family and all this, and sure enough, Estelle did, and she would go to the clubs and be around, and I was on the mailing list. So somehow I went one night early. I got there early. And Anne Bancroft and Mel Brooks were there already sitting at a table, and Carl's on his hands and knees running cable for Estelle, hooking up the speakers, and it was just, I thought, I'm going to never come late. I'm always going to come early to these gigs because I did. I got to see that more than once, and it was totally divine. And of course, I was a huge fan of both Mel and Anne. And of course, not to take anything away from Mel, but being an actress, I was mad for Anne Bancroft. I mean, what a divine presence she was. And one of my favorite things was when I revived The Search on Broadway, The Search for Signs of Intelligent Life in the Universe. I didn't even know they were there, but they came to one of the performances, Mel and Anne, and I shouldn't tell this off. Carl too came with Estelle. And I'll never forget, I knew they came on the original run in the 80s. And I know that Carl just looked at me and thought, I mean, he may have liked me, but then I knew he liked me even better because I did The Search. But Anne and Mel came that night in 2001, and they banged on the stage door to get in. They came in. They were just enraptured about The Search. And Mel was just about to put Producers on Broadway, and they had no idea what a huge, gargantuan hit that was going to be. Anyway, you can imagine me sitting in the dressing room watching Mel and Anne just going on about The Search, and it was both of that whole thing around the four of them was so meaningful to me.